So welcome to the Superhero Sessions. I am your host, Sarah Madras, and this is your co-host,
Wulwyn Porte. Wulwyn Porte.
And on today's Superhero Session, we have Dwayne Patterson of Ethos Training. Dwayne, do you mind introducing yourself to our audience, please?
Yeah, well, my name is Dwayne Patterson. I'm the owner of Ethos Training, where we exist to build value in others. And, we do training and development in the areas primarily of leadership, conflict resolution, supervisory, and management training.
And so the way that Dwayne got this coveted superhero session is that we've been doing a masterclass, and Dwayne was one of our star students who always engaged and made sure to stay connected to all the emails. It's a masterclass that we've been doing for free through email campaign. So Dwayne, what kind of training do you do?
We do leadership training, conflict resolution. We do some things around supervision and management. I'm also a certified life coach.
Nice doing that, Dwayne.
A little over a year. Started a business March 2019.
Right.
Worked with Wulwyn, got everything together, ready to roll. Then COVID.
Why trainings? What's your big why behind it?
Well, my tagline personally, and also for the business is, I exist and the business exists to build value in others.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a way for me to really give, help people achieve the kind of success that they want to achieve. Call out those hidden nuggets that they don't realize that are in there.
Yep.
And that's always a caveat for me when that happens, of just like, okay, wow.
Are you the type of trainer who goes in and they're like, a 2-hour training slot or a half day, and then it's a one-off, like a one and done, or do you do consistent with one company for, several months?
Well, it depends upon what the company wants and what the company needs. I can do either. Currently, right now, we're kind of doing the one-off because I do have one I got to get in touch with again in October. They're a care company.
Right.
And I'm going to work with his management team. And so that will be more ongoing.
Gotcha.
One of the things that's happening now is that, whenever there's an economic downturn, training and development was the first things that goes when it comes to companies.
Which is because that's what I do as well. So it's so surprising to me because I'm like, no, y'all, now's the time when you need it and you can implement it the most.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but unfortunately, when they look at the bottom line, look at dollars. I did 30 years.
You have the training, and that's one of the things that I'm having to do is to educate them on, if you have the training from the get, you're saving money over the long run versus let's run through it, and you're squandering more time and money dealing with those things as years on from now, rather than just like, let's train it from the beginning so it's that smooth ship.
Do they understand that? Do they get that?
I mean, not always, but that's why I have pretty little charts and I have case studies, and I'm like, look at what happened over here at Old Navy. And so I realized, but it's a lot of teaching just to get them to hire you. Do you feel that too?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of education because they're so about just getting the work done that a lot of times they don't see the benefit of how they can get the work done better by having better trained staff.
Yes.
Yep. So, and I understand when it comes to budgets, there's a lot of, particularly municipal government, there's a lot of short-term thinking.
Yes.
That occurs because it's like, we gotta, at the end of the fiscal year, we can't overspend. We're not allowed to overspend.
Yeah.
And when the tax revenue was down, then we got to cut different places.
Yep.
So I've been on both sides of it. I see both sides of it. But I always would like for them, leave my money in my budget. Let me spend it how I want to spend it. I will not overspend. Let me distribute it to the line items that I feel is most important rather than you
Yes.
just dictating. So,
Agreed. Kick us off with the wins.
well, one of the biggest wins that I've had so far is actually in the area of partnering. Because during this time of, an economic downturn and a lot of people being out of work and people not physically being in their office space, training and development is really one of the first things that come off the table whenever there's business challenges with finances. So one of the things that I've been able to do is to partner with another group called Tri-Team Unlimited, which there are several trainers and facilitators as part of that group, and that's worked out very well because they're versed in the marketing and they do all the registration. So for that, all I have to do is show up and facilitate, and that has been wonderful. Not having to secure the clients, not having to do the registration, the billing, have all the resources, all the teaching materials, everything is set up. I just tell them what I need. I come in and I do my sessions.
That's
that,
awesome.
I think that the greatest part of this.
Yeah, that's an awesome win right there. And I love that example because it points out how we get further faster when we do things together. You weren't afraid of like, oh, but they're my competition, or, oh, you viewed it as another way to collaborate and create partnerships in order to get your work out there to help others. I love that.
Yeah, and that's when I heard this on another one of these things that I connected to around businesses, and I heard she also does training and facilitation, and she said, I don't have competitors. All I have are future collaborators. And I was, wow, that is so great. And with this is that I don't have to bring everything I do to the table. I'm doing primarily conflict resolution, and so I'm able to really focus in on that topic, on that subject, and still working on the other modules. We will do some cross facilitation. And I'll do some things around self-esteem, around emotional intelligence. Yeah. But primarily, I'm just walking right in and I'm doing conflict resolution, and so I can focus and I can specialize particular venture. And it feels good to be able to do that and not have to bring your whole bag of tricks and kind of see what they need, see what's needed. They've already expressed what the needs are. That was one of the sessions, and so it just worked out very well.
That's
so
awesome.
quick interjection here. As you're doing this with your partners, a good thing to observe is how your partners do it and how you see that you don't want to do it, because as you are partnering, they have their tools, they have their methodology of engaging. Like I heard you say, there was training before you got on that showed you how to do it, so you can go ahead and get on and do. And I have, Sarah, I have a backstory here with this because we talked about this piece in his partnering with other individuals. But as you're doing it with them, find out the 100%, the check marks that's working perfectly. That if you don't have that in your model for onboarding partners, training partners, extract that and put it in, and give them the props that, from us working together, I have decided to do something similar, but not exactly, because you're not stealing it, because you will do it in your Dwayne way, in the ethos way. But keep that in mind as you're doing. Pick up your notes, write your notes down to see how they're doing it, because that will help you when you get in the driver's seat to start getting people to come under you.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I really like about this is, we went through all the conversations and signing of the clauses and those type things, the agreements. And the focus of this is for couples. So I was able to take my general conflict resolution and hone it down to just for couples. So so with that, I still maintain my freedom to do my conflict resolution training.
Correct.
But of course, with our agreement, I will not go out on my own and create one specifically for couples.
Oh, correct.
Oh, let me highlight that, because that is
my
a
goodness.
beautiful example of a pivot, right? So
Yes.
here you are in your business, COVID hits, and your business is, I'm training corporations, organizations, like leaders, right? COVID hits, and
Yes.
you're like, all right, how am I going to utilize my skills of conflict resolution and still provide for my business? And you pivot it by saying, well, I'm going to partner up with this company and do couples. So with this partnership, my pivot is to take these skills of conflict resolution for couples only. Beautiful example of pivoting. Love it.
Yep.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
it. Alrighty, so now we're gonna dive in. So audience listening, we had Dwayne fill out a little qual of questions of where he's struggling right now that we could help him with on today's call. So let me just review, Dwayne, and you let us know if these are still things you want to talk about on today's call, or if something new has come up that's more pressing. So you had talked about how your business is built on face-to-face interaction for the instruction and facilitation, but now that's next to non-existent because of all the COVID restrictions and everything going to virtual. Is that still something that you want to discuss today?
Yes, because and I think the other part of that is, I think one of my assets, it is my presence.
Mm-hmm.
To physically being in the space with people, being able to read their reactions, being able to engage them in conversation, and then they begin to take that and use it in the training.
Mm-hmm.
And I find for myself that doing these type of things via Zoom and Facebook and video conferencing as a whole, I don't necessarily have that same opportunity to gain that information from the nonverbal cues, because most time people are less animated, they're less expressive on these type of settings than when you have them in person.
Okay.
So I'd say that is still a situation that I personally find challenging.
Okay. And I'm not going to lie, when I read that, I was like, ooh, I can't wait to dive in, because that's mindset stuff right there. Like, that is all mindset work right there. Of you have created those limiting beliefs around what virtual is like, right? And so you're saying, oh, well, people can't get an idea of what my presence is, and unless we're sharing in that space together. But yeah, we might have to up our animation just a little bit so that people get our true essence of who we are, but you're still you. You're still you over the Zoom, just like I'm still me and Wulwyn is still him. And you can still feel energy through the computer, because it's the facial expressions. It's if I'm leaning in or leaning out, it's the tone of my voice. So you as the facilitator have to cue into that a little bit more, but it's still the information and the data that you're seeking is still all there. And so it's you shifting your mindset and being like, oh, well, that only exists face to face. It exists online too. It's just knowing what to look for online so that you see it.
So we're just jumping into this first topic, right?
Yes, we are solving.
Good.
We are
So I was just talking with Sarah a while ago and said, my wife and I were talking about telemedicine for Africa and how that would work. And she goes, I don't think it would work, because you would only do advisory. And I go, yeah, that's true. However, everything that can be done physically in presence can also be done virtually. So the tool here, so I think the first thing that we all need to do is level set on, when you come into my house, there are rules in my house. So you go, take your shoes off at the door, or man, feel at home. Just come in and do what you got to do. Sit, you're in a home here. Let's have fun. So when somebody comes into my Zoom home, right, I am not going like, right now, I'm feeling that since we're recording and we're putting this out, we have such a guarded way of operating now because we're like, oh, recording. But let me say, ignore the recording, because it's in those moments where we ignore and we truly are present, the essence comes out, right? So we give the rules. Come in this room, be yourself. Put your hand, I mean, not start dancing and all of that, right?
Why not? If that's your vibe.
You are ready now. I saw you say, right, you did the hair like this now, and you're ready to start breaking it down, right? But no, it's when you. So I'm going to do an ethos thing quickly. Welcome to Ethos Training, Dwayne, and our work is sales, service, accountability, integrity, and leadership. Look, when you come into this room, here's what I want you to do. Though, because we're virtual, I truly want you to imagine that I'm right in front of you. And even sometimes I'm going to do this to get in your face. And even I want you to get in my face. Put your hand up. If you don't want to put your hand up, use the tool. If you look on the right-hand side, there's a raise hand button that tells me how you're interacting. Also, let's use emojis. Put your sad face, put your confused face, put your happy face, so that I can look at the chat and see how you're interacting. Or you can even do it as you are right here on your face. Please be interactive with me. That gives them the, oh, okay, I get it. He's telling me to be. So you are telling them what you want, and when you give them that, they will give you what you want. Make sense?
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love how Wulwyn brought up about setting the tone, right? Because it was a hard I feel you. It is still a hard transition for me to go from in-person, intimate, like, because the work I'm doing is intimate stuff, right? Like, we're digging in and doing hardcore work. And so it does feel less connected and more impersonal when it's over the computer. But I realized that that was my own mindset blocks. That was me creating this whole story about how I can only really connect with people when we're face to face. And, you know, like, I had this whole narrative for it. And so if it sounds like that's your narrative too, of like, people will see my heart and they'll feel my energy, or they'll feel this if we're face to face. They can feel it through the computer, and you set the tone. So you can set the tone through the emails you send them before your trainings. Like for ours, you could tell even before today that we were going to have a little bit of fun. Like, I joked with you and I was like, don't be surprised if I show up with my superhero cape on and my mask. So you can set the tone in the emails for pre-training. And then when you come on, music is a great way to set the tone. What music do you want to have playing while people are entering the meeting and you're waiting? Because that first 5-8 minutes is people coming in and you're hitting admit, admit, admit from the waiting room. Amazing to have whatever music you want that represents your vibe. That's a way of them connecting to you. And then you have that tone set from the emails, from the music, from the background, from your energy. You can be standing and have your computer higher if you feel better standing and moving like that.
Correct.
And so those little tweaks and those little strategies that you can do, and then setting the expectation for them, because they don't know. Everybody's different, right? They don't know, is this the meeting that I'm allowed to ask questions? Am I supposed to sit here quietly till the end of the PowerPoint? What does each person want? And so you let them know from the get, interrupt me. Ask
Correct.
a question in the middle. And you can still have your two screens where your PowerPoint's on one, but you see all their faces in gallery view on another. And you can pause and be like, hey, Sally, I see, and you talk about the facial expression. I see that you leaned into the computer, or I see that you tensed up, or whatever it is that you saw, and be like, do you have a question with that? Or what is going on with you in your head? Like, what's going on in your head right now that caused you to do that? That's how you engage in that discussion, just like you would if you were face to face.
Because, you know, emotional intelligence, you teach that. You teach that. And there are so many things that we can pick up from you're in tuned to people. So if you're talking and the person goes, right, or they go, and a good example on that call, I think Sarah did a call a while ago, money, what was it?
Money mindset.
Money mindset. And we're in it, and she says something, and I go, "Hmm, I did that." Right as she said it and I did it, she says, "Wulwyn, what are you thinking?" I'm like, look at this woman, what the heck? Calling me out, right? But in that moment, it became so organic that I stated what was on my mind, which was something that she had an answer for, that enriched the entire group that were listening. And when I heard Sarah say 2 screens, so now here is what I would advise you and businesses to do. Invest in the technology. Invest in the system that will make you work effectively. Like right now, my effective station is I have 1 screen here, another screen there, and another screen there on the right-hand side.
Don't use Wulwyn's because he looks away from the camera, and that's bad.
You see, but here's what I tell people, Sarah.
Maybe he's a little distracted.
Right, that's
Sarah,
what I think. And I told him on one of ours, I was like, Wulwyn, stop looking at that other screen because they think you're not paying attention.
here's what I tell people every single time. Hi, Wulwyn, welcome. So I have a couple of screens here that in the process of us talking, please don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm going to be typing, writing something here or researching something for you. Please don't take it. So I alleviate that piece, even though, you know, it's so I'm letting them know what my virtual situation is. And if they're thinking like what Sarah said, I told her, no, I have another, I know you think I'm ignoring you, but I'm really not. That alleviates that piece. But back to the systems, right? Get the right tools that will make it work, because as you have these 2 screens, you can quickly glance at your participants to canvas what's happening. If you had the 1 screen, you really can't, because you have your PowerPoint on this one, and to go and find the participants, you have to go and look behind that, and that's going to be all complete. Let me see, using your mouse, right? But if you had that screen, you can quickly canvas and even go over the room. This is how you, like Sarah, the way she grabbed me when she saw my face and asking questions like, John, I see you are shaking your head. Is there something you would like to share? And that makes everybody feel, oh gosh, okay, good. He's interacting with us,
Yeah.
right? And your strengths, all of us have strengths and weaknesses. I think, and Dwayne, because I know you and the other people who will be on the screen, Sarah, and I know Sarah's strength is picking up cues. I mean, she's quick to pick up cues, call somebody out on like, hey, Jane, I see you doing that. What's up with that, right? You have your strength. Your strength could be that, or your strength could just be understanding how people are feeling in that room at a particular time. And you just lean in on that. And here's what it looks like at the end when they write their review. Oh my goodness. Like, had Sarah had she asked me to write a review for that class, I would say keen, picks up on my body language, understands what I'm thinking, and brings me in her workshop. Now, when I put that particular piece out there in the world, do you know what people will be saying? Gosh, if she does that in the virtual, I need to go to that virtual piece to go and learn and engage with Sarah. So
Right?
lean on your strengths, right?
How boring are the talking head virtual blah?
Yes.
Oh my God.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
And
is.
so I
You know,
want to
so
ask you, what is the story that you're telling yourself? Like I told you my story where I'm like, oh, well, we're having such intimate work and conversations, so it needs to be an intimate space together. That was my story. What's your story that you're telling yourself about why virtual won't work or isn't good enough?
well, my past experience has almost always been with pre-recordings or live shows where they're more. We did a lot of work with Raleigh Television Network. On there doing different things about municipal services, stuff like that. So the audience it was more informational. It wasn't really interactive.
Gotcha.
So I really haven't done it yet where it's interactive, right? Except for general calls, but never for like training. We've done it, Wulwyn, for several different things, and just seeing kind of how others who are on the conference, how they're reacting. And so sometimes I get lost in the subject matter the person's talking about because I'm viewing the other people on the thing saying, okay, if I was making that presentation, are these the kind of responses that I'll be getting?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But while we'll have an opportunity coming up in October, one of the things that we're looking at with its partnership is doing hybrid classes. You can only have a small amount of people physically in the space.
Right.
So in order to reach the numbers that we want to reach is have others who would come in and do it virtually. And so we would have where you'd have the in-class and the virtual receiving the same instruction.
Right.
So this is going to give me an opportunity to sort of see how it comes across in that medium.
Okay, so let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly because I want to make sure that I have your story right. So what I hear you saying is that the reason that this story is your story of the limiting belief of you think it's going to be harder to do presentations virtually than what you've been doing in the past is because for you, so far, it's all been pre-recorded stuff. And so that's much more controlled environment. And that when you shifted to viewing people doing virtual presentations, you were watching other people and you were seeing that there was a lack of engagement with those. And so then you transpired that to be, oh my gosh, that's going to happen to me too. But that it actually has never happened to you.
It's not happened yet.
Okay, so I just want to bring to the attention that actually has not happened for you. And
has not happened for me. But so you're exactly right. So the challenge currently is here.
Yes.
Right.
Of a story of watching somebody else, of you being able to learn and go, ooh, I don't want to do it like that because those people were not engaged. Here's how I can do things differently. I can have pattern interrupts. So pattern interrupts strategically placed throughout your presentation where you make the PowerPoint go away, you bring it back in, you do engagement questions, or you can do pattern interrupt with a crazy slide or a music pattern interrupt or a dance break or get up and stretch. Like pattern interrupts in order to keep people engaged. And so, I can strategically have these action steps in place to make sure that what happened to that person does not happen to me. Because the truth is, it hasn't happened to you, yet in your brain, you've already told yourself, oh my gosh, it's going to happen to me too. I can't do virtual because I watched that happen to that guy and I don't want that to be me. And it's never even been you, and it might not ever be you because you have all these tools and strategies for success to make your virtual stand out, be engaging, and be different without even the crutch of a hybrid, that you can be totally virtual and totally compelling.
Let me jump in there. So you're about to see the two sides of us, right? She hit you with mindset. Now I'm going to come with use the system and the technology. Here is exactly what I'm going to advise, on top of that. You have 10 of us around here, 10 or 20 of us, who you could do a test run of a real piece. Invite us, do everything as you would do your engagement. Invite 10, 20 people. From your invite, you're putting in your expectations in your invite. You are putting in everything that you want to occur. You start the program. Ensure that you have your technology set, meaning your screen, your 2 screens, whatever it is. Before you get on that, test it, play with it, see how you can switch between screens, how you can let your PowerPoint be on and then switch to your face being the focus on there. There are some tools. There's gosh, my son told me about this. There are a couple tools that gamers use, right? And you can just have that display and just be bringing things in for people to see. And there's a master switchboard that you can bring in and then you can tick out. So anything that comes on that screen is what people are seeing, right? You test all of those things and then you call us in and we do the live. Not the live, rather you record it just for yourself to critique. And then you see where you made your mistakes, right? Your interrupts, as you stated. Make sure that goes, see what you don't like, tweak it again, call another 5. Don't even call 10. Have 20 people, call 5 to do it. When you improve that trial 1, trial 2, you put all the lessons learned from trial 1 into trial 2. Trust me, when you reach to trial 4, you will be a pro in knowing how to look at cues, how to bring in pieces in it. Because I think the only thing here is the anxiety of, I haven't done it and I've seen what. Unlike you, when you come and practice, when you practice that piece, boom, it will be as easy as 1, 2, 3 for you.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because that's typically what we do with any other kind of training. You have a teach back, or you have a dry run, or you have someone to give you feedback, and that critical feedback. Yeah, so that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we've killed this one. What's next?
No, I'm like, next, bring on the next one.
Next.
I love the point you brought up, Wulwyn, about gamification, because gamification can be used in the trainings that you're doing too. It can be so much fun. It's not just for like video games. You can make anything, you can gamify anything, really. You can make it a game of like, after your first 45 minutes or something, your first pattern interrupt is a game where you're like, hey, these 5 people were the most interactive for the first 45 minutes. And so I'm picking your name out of the hat and you won a prize. You won, a Starbucks gift card, or better yet, to a small business, local small business. You know what I mean? And a $5 gift card here, whatever. Because then people are like, oh, there's stuff on the line. So after that first 45 minutes, they're like, well, now I'm going to engage. I'm going to pay attention because I want that next one.
Wow, Sarah. So Sarah, come on, let's go to the next one. But I'm going to jump on you on what you just said. So do you know that? No, this is exciting. Okay. Your gift card, right? You have digital gift cards. You can have digital gifts. Yep. So as soon as you tell them, Zoom has a file transfer. All you do is you go to your chat box. When you go to your chat box and you go and you say, send to John, like right now, I can come and send you something directly, Dwayne or Sarah. File, you insert that file because you know where your files are. You just insert that file and send it and say, Sarah, you've just received the digital gift card, and it's even more real. It's happening real time. And they're like, wow, this guy's on this.
Like if you would have handed it to him face to face. You
Correct.
Just digitally through the computer.
So it's just thinking it, and how can you virtualize it?
Yep.
Right. So essentially, it's taking everything that we currently do in the session and doing it virtually, but making sure we have the tools and the appropriate strategies to execute it.
Correct. And the right mindset. Don't listen to that made up mess story that didn't even happen to you. Wasn't even true.
Yep.
You know, I guess it's one of Confucius saying, you know, we teach best what we need to learn most. I'm sitting there saying, that's the same thing I do for other people. As soon as you said that limit, I was like, limiting beliefs. I was like, okay, she got me. Listen to the rest of it. There's nothing else for me to say. Limiting beliefs. Oh, that's right. Okay, all right.
But
I love it.
That's why I think these kind of sessions are so valuable, because it does put you in remembrance of the things that you already know,
right,
that you just kind of overlook.
Right. And you're too close to it. You can't see.
Because you're looking for something different.
Belief. Yeah, you're in the limiting belief, so you can't see it. And we all need those coaches, those supports, those consultants to have that bird's eye view and see it for us. And then we're like, oh, how did I not see that myself? Well, now you see it, and now you can shift out of it so much faster.
Yep.
Correct.
Love it.
Done.
Next.
I think that the next thing was just this may be a limiting belief as well, but
That's what I saw.
But it's also for me, it's somewhat of a personal experience, and in talking with others too, of the whole video conferencing or screen time fatigue. Mm-hmm. You know, that people are spending so much time with their face in a screen now, not just for the typical type of work that they were doing, but just for everything.
Yes.
So you're using it for work, you're using it for all of your meetings, you know, where you used to be able to do some of those face-to-face. Most people are, some of them are even using it to replace phone calls, you know, and so now the thing becomes getting someone who has spent all of this time, you know, on the apparatus, then use it again. A lot of times after hours or after work hours, whatever those may be now, which seems to be 24/7 since everybody's sort of, you know, out of the office or access, to get them to come back in for a 2-3 hour training. And maybe those need to be broken down to 3 1-hour segments, you know, or 45-minute hits, you know.
Yes.
And sort of do that. So rethinking the way I'm doing that, so we're not adding to that level of trepidation that people have about being on the computer all day.
Right. So Wulwyn might have a different perspective on this than I do. So I'm just going to say mine, and then Wulwyn, if you disagree, jump on in. But
I disagree.
So I feel like it takes people time to transition into a space, right? It's container building, especially when it comes to trainings. So when a 45-minute in and out, to me, that's too jarring. I haven't had time to transition and to sink into that experience, to feel held within that container in order to take in that information and have actual change. And so what I've noticed is for my team, I've done up to 4 hours in one day, like a half day. So 4 hours training, but I had to give like that 15-minute, 10-minute break in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. At minimum, so like my sweet spot is that 2.5, 3 hours. And it's because I feel like you need that time to create the container for people to learn and to engage and to be present with you. If you're in too quick and you're like, this is just 45 minutes, they don't value it as much because they have not sank into it with you. It feels like a doctor's appointment where it's like, you're here for your well check, you sit in the waiting room, you spend 30 minutes and then you're gone for another year. That doesn't create that relationship. So that's my thinking on how to structure it. And my thought is also when it comes to the fatigue part, to me, this is a boundaries. and that everybody is unique. And so some people might be able to do 6 calls back to back on Zoom. I've realized over this process, for me, 4 calls is my max. And so I know, do not schedule any more that day, because I will not be able to show up 100%. I would not be able to give you the service you deserve. And so knowing you personally, what is your limit? And so maybe when you're doing your training, you ask, like you assess the team, and one of your questions in that is, what is your limit in a day when it comes to Zoom time? And they might say 2 hours is my max, 3 hours. And so that way you can gauge and know if the majority of the group said they can last 3 hours, you make your workshop 3 hours, and you encourage them to, hey, after this, block out your schedule, or you make it to where it's going to hit right at lunchtime so that they have that break and they go to lunch afterwards before they jump on new calls. So in your setup of your engagement with them, even before the training, you're getting that data so that you're making it to them personally, to that group, and you're setting those boundaries for them so that it is a healthy, like, positive experience, rather than them being like, oh my God, I just sat through 4 hours and I'm completely wiped for the rest of the day.
Gotcha.
I call it in my trainings, I tell people it's called, because we're doing leadership, like daring leadership work. And so what it's called, what Brene Brown calls it, is a vulnerability hangover. And so I let them know up front, I said, listen, you might experience what's known as a vulnerability hangover. And I explained to them what it is, what it looks like, how it feels. And I'm like, so make sure that you utilize your lunch hour to go outside, recenter yourself, fuel with some healthy food, drink lots of water, and then you can finish out your day. Or I'll schedule them on Thursday, Fridays, so that they have the weekend to recuperate. So you get to set it up by having those healthy boundaries to set them up for success.
You know, I agree with you, and I'm not gonna disagree with you. I think I will add a couple things to that. Most of us will do anything when we're receiving value or perceived value. If I'm coming on here, I'm not so basketball training, right? I love basketball, so I'm in my AAU team, and my coach comes and says, "We will do Zoom training. Set the camera up in the garage, and let's do it. We'll have 2-hour workout." And I'm like, "Oh wow, I love it. I'm gonna go and do my 2-hour workout." Right? Yeah, there will be breaks. Naturally, there will be breaks. How valuable is your training? How valuable is what is it going to take them after they get this training, right? Because that question is why you open business. Because if I know that Bill Gates or Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos is having a 4-hour training, do you think that I am going to come and say, "Hey Jeff, make that thing 30 minutes, man"? And trust me, I'm not going against what you're saying, Sarah, about engaging them, right? It's you do that, but in order for that screen fatigue to be removed from their mindset, you're giving them value beyond where they're saying, "You know what, I'm going to come."
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to come and I am going to suck off this fire hose. He's going to give me 30-minute breaks. He's going to give me 30 minutes. After every 30 minutes, he's going to give me a break. I'll stretch, I walk, I do what I do and come back. That's not your concern. Your concern is I'm going to provide value here. And wherever value is, as they said, build it, they will come to it.
Yeah.
They will build a path to it. And it's what you're doing. And I pretty much know what you're doing. And then even to other people who are watching, before you go into business, in fact, the reason you're in business is because you're offering a pain point, you're giving a pain reliever for a pain point that they have. The pain point, what you're providing is a pain reliever. If your pain reliever is the best, they will come to it. So knowing you and knowing the others, make sure that you have the best product out there, the best service, and nobody's gonna be sitting down thinking of, and you know that how much time you should give in order for it to be effective. As Sarah was saying, gauge it 1 hour per, or 2 hours, or 30 minutes, or 45. And then you go out. I go in knowing that I'm the best. I go in knowing that I'm not going to conform. Please don't misunderstand me here when I say I'm not going to conform, because my client's comfort is part of what my value is, right? I know I'm the best, so I'm going to tell you, hey, it's going to take 2 hours based on what you said. We'll do 30 minutes and then 5 seconds, 5-minute breaks, and we go on. Don't concern yourself with they're going to be fatigued, because the higher calling is you're providing value. I'm going to go through it to get this thing here if they really want it.
So let me just point out too, basically, and it's so fascinating to me, Wulwyn jumped in and gave you mindset, and I jumped in and gave all these strategies. You just roll right there real quick. You sure did.
Yeah.
So Wulwyn,
you guys been around each other too long, right?
Right? Yes. Is he saying do the mindset shift of right now you're viewing it as depleting them, but you're not, you're filling them up. Like right now, this call with us, this session has filled me up. So I'm energized. I'm not drained because of our interaction and the connection that we've had with you, right? And so stay in your mind, shift the mindset of I'm not depleting them. I'm filling them up. I'm energizing them through the content and the value that I'm providing. And then do the strategies that I talked about as far as gauging the time and setting breaks and gamification to make it more fun, all those things like that. But it starts with the shift of I'm filling them up, not depleting them.
Excellent.
So what's the interrupt right now? Because I'm tired with y'all. I'm tired.
You need to put on Clark Kent glasses. That's the pattern.
I know. So we're talking about this, and that's why I'm bringing that up. Just an interrupt, a change, right? Something that makes us
a pair of glasses.
As simple as a pair of glasses, or as simple as this, and then I'm standing up and I'm stretching, because y'all can't see me, right? I'm stretching because I've been sitting for a while, and then I come back and put it back up. Yep. As simple as that, right? So it's, excuse me, I need to do a quick second, close it down, and you give them a 1 minute break.
Yeah, or you guys stretch together, or whatever.
There you go. Yeah. Everybody turn your video off before you stretch. Oh man.
For some of y'all, turn your video off before you stand up, because we don't want to see that you're wearing a dress shirt and shorts, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Or pajama pants or whatever. Yes. I love it. Dwayne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys. This was very, very helpful. This is good. Appreciate it.
Good. Do you have any other last minute questions for us before we wrap up, or do you feel like you've gotten what you need to move forward in your business?
I think I've got what I need to move forward, and I noticed that one of the things that are happening that I'm beginning to do as well, and that's this thing of sort of during this time period of kind of giving it away, not so much the fullness of the training, but finding different people to sort of just seed this into for this period of time. Like what you guys are doing now. Yeah. You guys get paid to do this, right. But in essence,
too much.
you know, part of it,
Too much.
you guys
Do you know
are
how much you would have
are
paid?
kind of giving it away,
Right.
you know,
Right.
to help people really move forward, to build value in them, build value in the businesses. But also, I think it builds value in you guys and builds value in your business as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I'm seeing, and that's something that that I've been doing probably since the COVID thing happened. Was, you know, I got like 5 people that I'm sort of calling and mentoring and sharing information with, things that normally I would kind of charge for.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it does 2 things. It helps them, but it also helps me.
Yep.
Because it keeps me fresh in the content. It keeps me learning. It keeps me engaged, rather than just sitting around waiting or, you know, trying to find places to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you guys for being willing to give it away.
Before you get off,
Yes.
what are your action items
Today.
from this call?
From today.
Yep.
Well, the first thing is I really got to have that mind shift of those limiting beliefs. I got to have the mind shift about what I perceive are the hurdles or stumbling blocks of, you know, my being able to really be expressive and people to receive from video conferencing. In addition to that, not being concerned about the video fatigue. So I think those kind of go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I got to start looking into, and that was one of the things you talked about earlier, Wulwyn, was the equipment. You know, investing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, investing in, you know, so I've got to start to look at, okay, if I'm really going to get into doing these video trainings, then I've got to have the necessary equipment to do the video trainings, where it's going to come off with the level of professionalism that they would get if I were doing it in person.
Yeah, or if you don't even want to buy it yourself, go to the Carey Podcast Studio. He has it all set up, and that's what he does. And you just show up, you use all of his equipment, he records it for you, and you do your thing. You do the training.
Yeah. Yes.
That way you don't have to buy the equipment, you don't have to set it up, you don't have to manage it, you just show up.
Correct. You know, another one I would add, because I did have certain things to add, and Sarah, we didn't talk this. I think at the end of all these superhero sessions, what makes it superhero is because we gave them call to actions and action steps, action items for them to
down for Dwayne.
There you go. But I think Dwayne is the trainer you're engaging with right now, you're partnering with. Ask them for a testimony about the work that you do, because then you can still build your digital profile. Get testimonies from those 5 seeds that you're planting. Let them give feedback. Let them populate your Google review, your reviews on your websites. And that enables you to be a step ahead when COVID or when things start to shift, and you're already populated with excellent feedback about your business.
Excellent.
Yay.
Right. Fantastic.
So how do we end this? How do we end this?
We fly
Sarah.
away.
Dwayne, it's been an honor, man.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. This has been very very insightful, very helpful, and yeah.
It's truly our pleasure. We appreciate you showing up and asking these questions and being open to receiving the feedback and the action steps. So it's a 2-person relationship, you know what I mean? And in our case, 3, you know?
Yeah, and then what I'll also do is I'll jump on some of the others and take some of the feedback you guys are giving other people as well. Which is what I did the last couple of times. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yep, that's true. That's smart. That is smart. That is smart.
So this would have been longer, but you guys already covered some of that with some other people. So
True. Okay, then. Take care, Dwayne.
All right, we'll see y'all. Thank you.
All right, bye.